Yes, I felt that the lesson was a success in that there was a lot of student engagement. There's a lot of positive energy in the room. There was a lot of focus. And in the debrief, I didn't ask about the content of people's beliefs or their values or anything like that. The debrief is focused on processes. What was a constructive approach to these conversations? What kind of approach was less effective, and how did you change to end up in a place where you understood why someone might say that, and you also understood why someone might be hurt when someone might say that. And in a non judgmental forum, with the goal of just understanding our social world in a more sophisticated and enriched way. And that kind of a goal, I think, is something that every professional should strive for to really be effective in today's world.
I'm not sure it's that students are more open. I think it's that students are wanting and perhaps even demanding and needing to have these conversations. And I think what we're seeing is a pull. There's not a push here. We're not having to push these conversations. It is a pull. And it's a pull from students who are already there, who are thinking about these things, who are trying in their own ways, in their own lives to progress topics around social justice. But we're also seeing the pull from students who don't perhaps completely understand. And now they're feeling like I can ask without embarrassment to say, I don't understand why we're focusing on these topics when we're talking about business, but I know or I think I'm missing something. Can you help me understand? Can we talk more about this? And to me, that's awesome. And I'm really proud of our students.
I love the way you stated that, Kanina, that this is at this point we're getting pulled by students. I mean, well, and this is an example of other things that have been happening. Our Women in Management Club in the HBAA, I think it was 5 years ago, started a their own voice empowerment conference that they put on every year. Sadly, COVID has delayed it this year, but again, students didn't wait for us. You know, they wanted to have more conversation about how to move more women into leadership more quickly, and they were pulling me into the conference and saying, "Allison, would you be a volunteer?" So I completely agree with you, Kanina.
And I've seen that too, where students are sometimes ahead of us, where they are saying, "Huh, why are we doing that case, and how come it's being presented that way? Can't we look at it more deeply with a more nuanced view?" And I think it's amazing. But I think that there are still students who aren't there. And I think we have to acknowledge that it's not always welcomed with open arms by every single student. And that's true in society too, right? We have this huge push, this social justice push. There's a movement, um, but not everybody is is pulling the same way. So that's something that I think that is important for us to realize, and to realize that that there are people who take this case and say, I don't like it. I don't like the non I don't like being told I'm not woke, and people telling me I should be more woke. And for the folks who aren't ready to engage fully, at least they're seeing how to do perspective taking. And when they're ready and see the value of doing that, then at least they've had that exposure. And if we can do that in business schools, which are traditionally very conservative, holy hot darn, we can do that anywhere. So I think that that's a great lesson for all of us. These very intense business students, they're coming to play, most of them, and we're changing the leaders of tomorrow.
Makes me think about my research in 2016, where we had students specifically call out the conservative nature of business schools, and in that students talked about these taboo topics, very much around, well, this isn't what we talk about in business school. This isn't who we are in business schools, but there has been progress made. We can now talk about the fact that not everyone in business school comes from affluent families. We have socioeconomic diversity. And we shouldn't be sort of shoveling that under a rug. In fact, we should be celebrating the fact, because we talk about in business that diversity is key to success, especially in our global world. And I think we and other business schools are trying to shine the light on the reality of the diversity that we do have and that we have the opportunity to celebrate. It's a journey. We've got a long way to still go, but we're on the journey.
My friend and colleague whom I admire tremendously, Belle Reagans at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, she just recently published an article in a top tier journal, the Journal of Applied Psych, which is an FT50 journal that business schools look at for rankings. And she did a several year study collecting data on the students who took her managing diversity class, and found that the perspective taking exercises in that class absolutely increased people's willingness and interest in making cross group friendships. And it also improved people's ability to be empathetic and to take other people's perspectives in interaction and have positive interactions together. So this approach that we're taking is not just random. It's based on real evidence-based research as well.